panels, we live in a world when global warming become a significant issue in status quo, such as environment refugee in Africa, increased sea level in the Pacific countries, fish are dying because of plastic, etc. And we believe that other mechanisms in status quo, such as first Kyoto Protocol, are failed because it cannot force countries to obey the rule. So the countries such as America, China, etc., are also easily disobey the rule. And secondly, education are also failed because it is specific for rational people and cannot gain the every aspect of the people itself. And thirdly, green label corporations are also failed because it is only limited for their own markets and never going to shift the other markets in status quo, that we believe it is going to be very problematic. Furthermore, many of industries still tend to not change their production to be more green because there is no any law that could punish them if they disobey the social movement, or even giving them a scare to not doing the social harassment, any kind of environmental harassment in status quo, such how many textile companies, mini markets such as Indomaret, Alfamart, Superindo, etc., still tend to using plastic for their own things, right? So that there is an urgency to punish people who do not have to do who do not do a recycle to reach a proposition goal that is creates a significant change about environment. Three things that we want to prove in this debate. First, why it is urgent for us to give punishment, and secondly, why this is justified for the stakeholders, which is people, countries, and corporations. And thirdly, how this is going to give benefits for environmental movement. Firstly, let us characterize two things for this debate. First, what is the interest of government in status quo? We do believe that government has an interest to keep their countries to be sustained anyway, and we do believe that environment issue is one of the main problems that pop up in status quo. And if they do not act for anything, that means by omission, government also don't care about their own people. So that there's an urgency and also there's a justification for government to protect their own people and to protect their own country to be sustained anyway and not and not going to ruin because of the environmental issue. And secondly, what is the not where is the nature of punishment? We do believe that punishment and law is one of the social and social engineering that we believe it will also giving people to change anyway because it will give narrative for the people that people will also scared to get punished that coming out if they disobey the rule, so that from they are going to scared from the punishment, then there will be do what the punishment not to say about and all to not to say about. And we believe it is going to be in line with the interest when people are going to be habituation that they are not used to harass the environment. Furthermore, from the habituation there will be a new social standards that people will live when they are not harass the environment itself. Our mechanism is very simple, that we only give punishment for the people who do not doing a recycle if they do already have 100 kilos of recyclable things, so that people that only have a cup of water or one piece of plastic will not getting any kind of punishment if they do not done the recycle itself. We do believe that it is going to be significant anyway because we are aiming for the big companies and people who have a significant role and on environmental harassment, such as SMEs or something like that. And the reasons of why we choose law as our mechanism is we want people to not extractively gaining resources that could harm the nature, and also we do want to change our nature and our society to be more environmentalist and more green, so that at the end of the day our country will not ruin anyway. And now moving to my point of argument. Firstly, why this is in line and justified for the country to create a law to protect the environment itself. Notice that government has a duty to ensure that their country will keep sustained in every condition. And we believe that environment is one of the biggest problem to be solved for the government itself. And that's why it is justified for the government to give punishment for the people who do not done a recycle. And we believe by creating a punishment, it can be only justified if there is a meaning on protecting something. In our scenario, we want to protect our environment because we believe that by creating an environment safely, then our country will run rightly because we don't think about the global warming issue or something like that. So at the end, we could shift our country to be a bigger country if they do not have any kind of natural problems such as that. Why? Because we believe that in environment perspective of ecocentrism, human life and nature must be balanced so that at the end, by creating a standards and creating a better environment, then people will also could do anything and not worried about the environment issue. We need our nature to be survived because country itself never be there if there is the nature of there is no earth, right? And also we believe that to protect the most vulnerable actors, there is our people, because if there is any environmental problem, our people is the one who's going to be suffering first. For the example, how in Africa there is many environmental refugee going to Europe, or even in the Pacific island, there is their country are thrown and they have to go for America, etc. And that's why it is going to be justified in our side to protect people and nature, because the form of law is the social engineering that we believe it is mean the duty of the country itself to control the public to together to protect the nature itself. But how this is going to be significant to fulfill the interest of the government? We do believe by creating punishment, people in every aspect will obey the rule, because law itself has a nature that it will force every person in every aspect. By obey the rule, even irrational people who don't have any understanding about environment still have to do it. So in the end, even if in our worst case scenario, if people who still not going to change and create changes, it's still okay anyway, because there is a law who could give them punishment if they do not recycle. So at the end, people will irrationally follow the rule that created by the government itself and form a new social standard because there is a habituation that coming from it. And now moving to my second point of argument, why this is going to preserve the environment. Panels notice that law is a social engineering tool. By law, we will force our people to obey the rule that coming and to protect the environment itself, because they will scared of punishment that will come if they disobey the rule, right? And we believe people are to still tend to scared to getting the punishment, so at the end they must obey it anyway. And we believe by law we could shift it to, and by they are obey the rule, people will shift to many aspects of social life in the citizen, corporation, even the international world. And that's why we believe that by giving punishment, it will be that significant to preserve environment into two aspects. First, for the society. We do believe that society is the most vulnerable actors, because they only be changed if there's a social standards that are forcing them. And we believe that by reforming a law, then people will irrationally follow, because the nature of law that is for force every person and every aspect in the social life itself. And by following the rule, there will be habits, and from habits there will be a social standards that going to force every public to not doing a harassment thing for the environment, so that at the end of the day, people who scared from coming from scared, then they will be usual, then from usual there will be a standards in their life to not harass the environment itself, so that it is going to be beneficial for the society itself. And secondly, for the corporation, we do believe that the only way to rule corporation is by giving them punishment. We do believe if we are not going to give any punishment, the nature of corporation, which is money oriented, will still seeking a faster way to for their industry to getting the profit, such as paper industry, plastic industry, etc. So we believe that by creating a law, we could controlling the production to be more green, because they will scared of the punishment that could ruin their reputation in the market, so that at the end of the day they will follow the rule anyway. So we believe that because they are going to scared to losing their reputation in status quo, so that it is going to be better for society and corporation. I close my speech. Thank you.